Okay, so this is expanding double brackets, lesson 2, and you should be really comfortable and happy with expanding and simplifying two brackets multiplied together. So I want you to pause the video and I want you to complete these 4 questions, and I want you to look at your answers and see if you notice a pattern. You should notice a pattern. So pause your video now. Okay, so you should have your 4 answers to these 4 questions, and I just completed them myself. So we can see that these look a little bit different to the answers we were getting in the previous lesson when we were expanding single brackets, expanding double brackets. First of all, we can see our answers look shorter, right? They only have 2 terms in them. They have the square term and they have the number term, but they don't have that middle term with just the letter in it, with just H. And they are all like that. So that's one pattern. They're missing that central term. Another pattern is that they all have something squared take away something. There's always a subtract here. And if we look at our questions to try and see why this happens, I have the working out for part A on this post-it note. So here I've got my grid method, and I have h squared plus 5h, negative 5h, and negative 25. And when I wrote those all out and tried to collect like terms, I see that 5h subtract 5h is 0. And that happens in all of these questions. Your 2 terms in the middle cancel each other out, so you're just left with the square term at the beginning, so the letter squared, and then the negative number on the end. Now this has got a special name when we have questions like this. It's called the difference of 2 squares. And that's because the difference in maths, when we speak about the difference, we are speaking about a subtraction, and these all have a subtraction. And the 2 squares refers to the fact that we always have 2 square numbers. So it's the difference or the subtraction of 2 square numbers. H squared is a square number, it's h squared. And 9 is a square number, it's 3 squared. H squared is a square number, 100 is a square number because it's 10 squared. H squared, square number. 4 is a square number because it's 2 squared. And then 25 over here is 5 squared. Now, the way to spot if a question is a difference of 2 squares question is what we'll look at next. So I'm just going to copy question A down, which was h plus 5, h subtract 5. So these brackets are basically the same, right? But we have the positive and the negative here. And that led us to this answer. And the same for this one, we had h plus 2, h subtract 2. So we had the positive and the negative, and that was called the difference, and that led to one of these expressions, the difference of 2 squares expressions, with plus 10 and minus 10 and h plus 3, h minus 3. If I was to have something like this, h plus 5, h plus 5, that wouldn't be the difference of 2 squares because I need to have Well, this wouldn't be a difference of two squares problems, because I need to have one positive, one negative. So this one would be, and this one wouldn't be. If I had something like this, 5 plus h, 5 minus h, this would be the difference of two squares, because even though we have the number first and then the letter, we still have the same two, the 5 and the h, and then the positive and the negative. Okay, so this would be the difference of two squares.